Hey, it's Alex, and I'm back to talk about my 4 easy steps to organizing your online folders and files. And this time we're talking about step 3, which is coming up with a file naming convention. In the previous videos, I talked about how do you come up with your folder structure and categories. And now we're going to talk about what goes into those folders. So when you're saving something, whether it's an attachment from an email, something you're downloading from a website, a draft of a document you're working on, how much thought do you actually give to what you name the file when you save it? So let's think about it. You're saving things because you think or know that you're going to want to access it at a later time. But are you saving it in a way that's making it easy for you to find it when you need it? So let me give you an example. Here are 2 names for what could be the same document. It's a marketing document. So let's say you're working on this marketing document and you need to take a break to work on something else for a little while, and so you just call it marketing doc 1 and you save it somewhere in your computer, whether it's in a folder. If you watch the previous video, you'll know you need to save it in a folder, or you just save it on your desktop. It's just called marketing doc 1. A couple days later, you need to work on the file again and you go to look for it. You have no idea what it is. Marketing doc 1 doesn't tell you anything. But if you had named it Q1, quarter 1, marketing 2019, then you can tell just by looking at it that this was the marketing document you were working on at that particular time. Because you might have been working on several marketing documents and all of them were called marketing doc 1. That's not really going to be very helpful. So what makes for a good file name? There are 2 things. One is you want to be able to look at a file and immediately be able to tell what's in it. In this case, you do want to judge a book by its cover. And the second thing is you want to be consistent across your own files. And if you're working on files that are going to be shared and used by a group of people, you want to make sure you're consistent across the whole team. If you have different people saving the same document with different names, you're going to have a version control mess, and I promise you it is not going to be fun, and you're going to end up wasting a lot of time. So let's think about what pieces of information you want included in your file name. You probably might want to include things like what the document is. Is it a report? Is it a presentation? Is it a draft speech or something? So what is it? Who is it for? Is it associated with a particular client? Is it for a particular team? What stage is it? If you want to track if it's just a draft, if it's the final review draft, if it's final. You want to be able to track different versions. You might want to have a date if it's something that's going to be worked on over time, but you don't want to just save over the previous versions. You might want to have a date stamp to know that you're looking at the most recent one. If it's something that multiple reviewers are going to look at, you might want to have their initials in there. There's all sorts of different pieces of information you could put in. So you want to have it made up, the file name made up of those different pieces of information with either a period or a dash or something stuck in there. So here are some examples that I put together. This first one, let's say you're doing a proposal. So here's a proposal file name. You have the name of the client that you're submitting the proposal to, proposal, that it's a proposal. 2019, let's say you submit a proposal to this client every 2 or 3 years. You want to know which version it is or which year it was. And final, this is the final one that was submitted. You might have several different versions that were drafts that were reviewed and written over a period of time, but you want to mark which one was the absolute final one. And so you don't get that confused. Here's another example. Let's say this is a presentation that you're putting together. You have the client name, pitch presentation. On this one, we have the date that this draft was created, and that is a draft. So this is still a working document, and if people continue to work on it over the next couple days, you might want to change the name. So that's just a little bit about how to think about great file names. I hope this gets you and your team thinking about what makes sense for you, and I will see you in the next and final video in this series.